Welcome everyone to the EPF Tech Fund podcast Ecosystems, where we talk to entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and innovators and look at how they fall within the bigger digital ecosystem. Today we have Andrew Wainwright, the founder of Community Business Owners. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi, Amber. Welcome to, great to be, and thank you for the warm welcome. I'm looking forward to this chat.
As are we. We know that you have quite a vast business experience, especially in business strategy and building brands. So why don't we start off with you giving us a little bit of your background, what do you specialize in, and how that led you to the idea of CBO?
Okay, so my background's been corporate for 20 odd years, business strategy, planning, those sort of functions, which has always been great to see where business goes, how you need to take it to where you want to go, and what sort of solutions you need to put in place to get the business to scale up and to grow. So I've been blessed to work with a lot of large corporates globally and blue chips locally, and immersed in strategy to truly see what it takes to go from a business that was 10, 20 years old and how you ramp it up. And then prior to CBO, I worked for a company that was 1 year old, and how we ramped it up in 7 years to go from a few $100,000 a month to a multi-billion rand business. Wow. So you learn a lot of heartache, a lot of pain, and my passion has always been small businesses. So as much as I've worked in the large corporates and seen how large corporates can handle an economy, it's always the small guys that when the economy wobbles, what do? Can they handle the changes? Can they handle what we saw 5 years back with COVID? And CBO grew out of a passion for small businesses and how we can help them.
Okay, so you touched on something very interesting, and being your love for strategy. When you look at trying to scale or grow a business, what would you say are the 3 key focal points that you start with that would then determine whether or not this business can be scaled or can be successful in the long run?
Yeah, the very first thing I look at is the foundational strategy. Okay. A lot of guys don't even know what that is in their own business. So what's your purpose? What's the reason your business exists? If it's just to make money today, that's not a good enough purpose. What's the vision? Where do you see yourself going in the next 12, 18, 36 months? So, I look at those sort of things first when I discuss any business venture with anyone. If you can't get the foundational building blocks right, it's like the pyramids. The broader and deeper your foundation, the higher your apex. So I say to guys, let's first get that in place. What's the exact reason you exist? Classic example was last year I was doing some consultancy to an NPO, a very large and well-established business that realized that if they don't move from NPO status into profit-making status, they're going to collapse and die. And they wanted a strategic map built, but we took it back to the true foundation of what is your actual purpose. What's the reason that this thing exists? Is it an extension of an American institution that started 100 years back, and you've just gone with that, but you haven't localized the South African context? So we instead of doing just a strategy map and just building objectives and targets, and measures, we actually went back and re-evaluated the entire mission statement, the entire vision, the entire reason for existence. And once you get that right, I think it becomes easier to then say, right, now I know what I need to build, and now I can say, right, I want to target R1 million this year for sales revenue, or I need to bring in 2 sales reps. As opposed to saying I need 2 sales reps, or I need to get another office, and then staff come in and say, but what are we really doing here? What's the reason why we exist? What do we actually, if we are just to earn a salary, they will leave you after a while. People need a common purpose, a common vision that they can believe in. So that's the first thing I tell everyone. Build your foundational strategy. Get that right. Understand truly why you wake up in the morning, and when you walk into your office, why are you there?
Okay. And so this common purpose and those foundational roots that you speak of, is this what pushed you to found CBO?
So where CBO came along, it was in May of 2020. My eldest daughter was at a high school. And obviously it was just post-COVID, it was during that COVID period, and they were trying to get obviously more income in, and they were trying to help through their way to get small businesses to work together, to network, and they built a database. One lady built it, sent it out, and no one contacted anyone. It was literally like a dead database. It was just names, emails, cell phones on a PDF document. In November 2021, I kind of then went out and said, this thing's been sitting there, it's dead, no one's ever spoken to each other. I started contacting people and saying, hey, it's Andrew, our kids are in the same school together, you run a small business, so do I, let's connect. And every single email had a positive response. Let's connect, let's talk, let's get together. And then I literally set up the WhatsApp group, and I said, too many responses came in for me to personalize them. I said, just join this WhatsApp group and let's chat. The first week in December of 2021, there were about 35 people get together at a restaurant, and we all just spoke and said, listen, my business does this, you do that, let's talk. And that's how the whole thing started with CBO. And it was community focused. So we weren't looking for, no disrespect to them, but we weren't looking for the large corporates to come in and say, we have a product to sell. We weren't looking for the large corporates to say, listen, we need your details because we want you to do X, Y, Z for us. It was about, what do you do? How big is your business? How can I buy from you? And I do this, and how can you buy from me? And how can we support each other? And how can we grow? And that became the foundation of CBO. So it stands for community. So you've got to be community focused. So we don't want someone to come in there and try and take on Africa and become this big brand if you can't even service your local community. And you've got to be a business owner. So we don't want someone, and I mean no disrespect to some guy sending his nephew in there as a sales rep. We're not looking for that. We want business owners to sit down, negotiate, discuss.
Decision makers.
Exactly that, yeah. So that when I walk out, I'm saying, I saw the person A, we had an agreement that he'll give me pricing for this if I buy that, or I'm going to give him this in return for that. But sometimes a barter exchange. But a rep just walks out going, oh, well, I met 20 people, I had a coffee, I got 30 emails, I'm going to just spam them with my details. So we're totally against that. We're trying to bring that whole village concept together again, that community of let's work together, let's build up the local economy in your local community.
I understand how you see so much value in that. And so how do you think tech and partnering with Empire Partner Foundation fits into this vision?
CBO can only go as far as the tech can allow it. And at the moment, we're not tech-based. Barring a little website that was developed and meeting up every now and then once a month for the networking, the vision that I've always seen is how to not commercialize CBO, but how to, dare I use the word globalize across South Africa and bring people together. So a good example is I have a friend that sits in Uppington saying, I have a day job, but I want to get out. I need to learn. I need to connect. Where do I meet entrepreneurs? How do I get into a network? But I'm sitting in Uppington. I can't drive to Johannesburg. I can't come and join your monthly breakfasts. I'm missing out. So that's where EPF and the ecosystem and the amazing technology and the amazing people that you have here and the amazing solutions can hopefully partner with CBO in a way that the vision of CBO can then be taken further. So CBO has 3 E's that I developed, and these are the foundational legs. So the one is engage. So how do we build an engagement platform that people that aren't in Joburg can still meet, connect with other entrepreneurs, sell their goods, sell their wares. The other E is equipping. How do we train people? How do we skill them up? Because you might be a great entrepreneur at launching or developing, let's say, the next best iced coffee. But if you don't know how to sell it, if you don't know how to do financial management, your business might crumble. And then the third E is eventing. How do we bring all these people together once a year where we have the leading speakers on finance, on AI, on tech, on product development, and then put them into a room and celebrate each other's businesses. So that's where EPF and the ecosystem and things that I've seen and what we've spoken about, I think is critical to bringing in, not creating a movement, but creating a platform, a system, where people are proudly South African, they're proudly small business owners, and they say, listen, I have a voice, I can connect, and I have a platform for which I can do it,
Yeah, and take all of that value and take it back to their communities, the individual communities, because that's generally, or that's in essence, the vision is that all of that value should then go back into your local community in which you own your business.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the tagline is growing community businesses together. So it's about growth. We can't keep waiting for the large corporates to grow this economy. We can't keep waiting for the government to turn this into a construction site and say, we're creating thousands of jobs by doing new roads. It's actually the opposite at the moment. We look at ArcelorMittal Steel saying we're closing down our long iron plants, I think Newcastle, Vereniging, 3,000 jobs. The steel industry predicts 100,000 job losses. So if we keep waiting for the large corporates to do something and to drive growth, we're going to miss out. So it's about growing, and then it's the community businesses, but together. So if you have a business and I have a business and we both grow together, we uplift the economy. You hire one more person, I hire one more person, multiply that by 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, suddenly we see the economy shift.
Yeah.
And South Africa, unfortunately, is disproportionately geared more to large corporates. We have a very small base of impactful SMEs, and we want to try and flip that. So if anything happens like we've had in the past, and we have shutdowns or corporates start hemorrhaging, and they do mass layoffs, the SMEs still can function, and we can still save jobs.
Wow, that's very impactful. Thank you. So just before we end off, all growth, I think, requires some failure in order to get there. What do you think is one of your greatest failures and therefore one of your greatest lessons?
28th of May, 2008, declared bankruptcy.
Oh,
voluntary
wow.
sequestration. Yeah,
Okay.
clearly remember the day. It's emblazoned and tattooed onto my brain.
Yeah.
And the biggest lesson for me, I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do my research.
Okay.
So I was working for a company. I was thinking about 29, 30. I was a GM, doing well. And then someone said, "Let's start a business. Let's do this." I've connected to government. And I just trusted them. Stepped out, left corporate, and went into starting something and didn't do the due diligence. The share options weren't share options. And then you realize that, okay, I've bitten far more than I can chew. So the first thing is do your research, do your due diligence. If you're going to start a business, research like mad. Don't just think, oh, I got a great idea. Maybe 20 people have the exact same great idea.
Yeah.
How is yours different? And then secondly, once you start something, be humble. If you see failures coming, be humble enough to say, guys, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I think this is going to fail. I haven't done my research. I haven't have enough funding to back me, to last me if sales don't come in. And then thirdly is network like mad. Is get out there. A lot of people have a great idea. They're humble as heck. But then they expect everyone's just going to find them. We live in a crazy commercialized world with millions upon millions of businesses. And the more we have tech coming out, the more we have platforms coming out. So you're just a lone voice in a sea of lone voices. So if you don't get out there and actually actively market and promote and network your great idea or your business, and you expect people just to find you, you're going to fail. So for me, it's about due diligence, do the research, understand what you're stepping into.
Yes.
And then once you're in that and you start seeing things aren't going right, be humble enough and not arrogant, humble enough to ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for support. And then just get out there and work it. There's no one-hit wonders. No one can be a Bill Gates, a Mark Zuckerberg overnight. We all dream to hit that sort of level, but they were 1 in a billion. The rest of us work hard, dig deep, and then hopefully a year or two down the line it becomes successful.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm definitely can see why CBO and EPF have formed this partnership, and I do think that tech will take this vision nationally and beyond. But thank you so much for your time, Andrew, and we hope to see you here again soon. Viewers, we will keep you up to date on all of the latest that's coming out from CBO and EPF, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.